Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Good morning.
Hi, morning.
My name is Mark Julio, also known as MarkMan. I'm in charge of business development for EVO. EVO is one of the longest-running fighting game tournaments in the world. I run the business development side for that. Have been doing it for about 6 years now. I also work with the tech and project team, and I host a lot of these tech and events around the world on the commentary side, but I also help with the development side here and there. So, big fan of fighting games. Been part of the fighting game community most of my life. So, very happy to be here in the Philippines, where I see the esports scene and just the gaming industry growing so much ever since I started going back here again in 2017. So being back here after a few years after the pandemic, it's just nice to be able to see how much people are still excited about video games and esports here.
Hello, Mark. This is Chad from the Ring of Files.
Hi.
So, a couple of questions here. So, hold on. So here, you've gone through like every level of organization, events, and programs through your career, right? So, what do you think is the largest factor that has enabled you to keep going through the many challenges on each new event?
Like personally or as a company?
As you.
So personally, going through events and just seeing how things evolve. So particularly, I'm more involved with fighting games, so it's very different from many other esports. As you guys know, different games will have different crowds and different people that are playing it. You know, it could be millions of people playing the game. It could be thousands of people playing the game. So there's always going to be a big difference on the amount of eyes, depending on where you are in the world. I think one of the big challenges when you're dealing with communities and you're also dealing with companies that are investing in games and investing in esports is you have to find a common ground for everybody to benefit. And that's not always easy. Sometimes you're going to have hits and misses. Sometimes you're going to have wins. And that's the important thing, is that you highlight the wins and you highlight what's important for these communities to not only grow the consumer base, grow more people to be involved in games, but to find a way to draw people in and make sure that it's something that everybody can grow from. You want to be able to have sponsors that stick around for many years, not just for 1 year, not just for a single paycheck. You want to be able to, again, grow together along with your partners, your sponsors, and of course the players. The players are the most important. And for me, I will always say it's not about the sponsors, it's not about the people that are spending the money. It's about the people that are buying the games, playing the games, and keeping those games alive. Because without it, the industry doesn't exist.
Then speaking of for your, like all of the involved projects that you had, like you've done also a lot of achievements for the fighting game community. So, like in your perspective, what is your biggest achievement there? Like your, Evo Moment 7.
For me personally, one of my biggest achievements is I used to work on the hardware side. So I used to design controllers and make controllers for different companies and consult with them. But for me, the thing that I think helped bring in more people and more eyes into the scene and to the community is when I joined the business development team in 2016 for EVO, and I started working closer with the publishers and developers, companies like Capcom, Bandai Namco Entertainment, Arc System Works, and even PlayStation, to have them pay more attention to the event and use the event as a way to make their announcements for world premiere stuff, to announce their games there, to announce content there. And it's the one weekend out of the year in the gaming industry where fighting games are at the main stage and at the forefront. There is nothing more viewed on Twitch or on YouTube that single weekend, just because, again, everybody's paying attention not only for the competition, they want to see who's the best in the world, but they also want to see what these companies are planning for the future. And I think that's what's important, is you always have people looking towards the future while still focusing on the present. So I think for me, my biggest achievement is working with these companies to help build a platform for everybody else.
Also, you also mentioned some of the achievements, right? And also you had this previous project before with Nike. Like you were pushing for a collaboration to release like an Evo Moment number 37 theme sneakers, right? And since it also happened, like do you have any other wish list that you would love to do a collaboration like with other apparels or other brands?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the demographic for fighting game fans and the demographic for gamers in general, they like to pay attention to what's hot in the streets. They like to pay attention to what draws them. It's a very urban culture. Depending on where you are in the world, it's very influential as well. So working with Nike to be able to create a sneaker that would honor and pay homage to the fighting game community was a dream of mine. I've always wanted to work with Nike. I'm just a big fan of sneaker, streetwear in general. So that was a big moment for me. But I think that's just the beginning. I think there's a huge future in what could be these companies like Nike, like an Adidas, like a Reebok and Converse, to see them more ingrained with the communities and being able to tell our stories. They do such a great job of doing it in the sports world. We highlight athletes. Why can't we highlight gamers as well? They have a storied history. They put their blood, sweat, and tears into the games just as much as anybody else does in the sports world. And I think it's just a matter of time as people grow into it. The industry itself of the amount of people that play video games, that consume video games and watch video games is growing. There are more pro gamers or people dedicated to gamers growing every single year. And I think pretty soon it's going to be just as much as there are athletes that are out there on the pro level. And I think it's something beautiful to see. But again, it's about how you communicate that to everybody and how you highlight it. So obviously companies like Nike have been paying attention. They wanted to do this collaboration and it happened. It wasn't at the scale that I envisioned it originally, but one of the goals I have is to be able to work with Nike again in the future, maybe a Jordan brand, maybe a Supreme. I want to be able to see where we can take this and how we can highlight the communities and the gamers themselves, because I think it's something to be very proud of, that we do a lot of cool shit, and I want people to be able to see that.
Right. Okay. For my last question, since for handling events, like we've been seeing a lot of different generations now of gamers now who are participating in different events. So, what do you think would be done? How do you overcome this kind of challenge on how to, bring other generations to this kind of scene?
So I think that's a very good question. A lot of events seem to cater towards the hardcore players, the players that know, the players that pay attention. But I really believe, especially with an event like this, events like EVO, events like Combo Breaker, it can be a family-friendly affair where you can bring your entire family there. And it's great because I see more often than not people coming with their parents. And my dad is actually here at the event as well and checking out. He's been going to events with me since I was a kid. I think it's a very welcome place for people to be able to bring their families, plan their vacations around, plan their free time around, to really introduce the positive things that we're doing. We could be doing a lot of bad things as youth, right? As we're young, but we're here playing video games, and there's nothing bad about that unless it interferes with your schoolwork, right? But for the most part, this is something that, again, that not only you can build a career on industry-wise, there are so many different aspects of gaming. Everyone thinks about just playing and competing. It's not just about that. There are people that work production. There are people that work on the business side. There are so many layers of this industry that is not really on the forefront, but people can build careers out of this. People can learn and love and help curate their experiences through their passions for games and just being able to help and work with other people along the way. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because this industry did not exist 10 to 20 years ago. This is something that's driven from gaming and passion for gaming. And I think, again, that is something where people need to look at it from that perspective, because I think that's part of the story that people don't get to see.
That's it for me, and welcome back to REV.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
Thank you, Chad. Thanks. Next we have Pete from GG.
Hi, MarkMan.
Hi.
Pleasure to meet you, and I love your cap.
Thank you.
So first question is, what do you think we can do to further empower Pinoy tech and communities?
Oh, for the Pinoy tech and communities, I think it's very difficult initially, because there's always going to be the entry level. Being able to empower them, there's the basics that you can do. Is you could obviously make sure that you have a stream, make sure that you have highlights, and make sure that you are pushing things on social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter. It depends on the region what your core consumer consumes as far as content goes. The important thing, I think, to be able to grow outside of that, think virally, think of outside of just your core audience. You want more and more people to see it. Highlight these guys as your heroes. Highlight these guys as the people to look out for. And I know it's very easy to say that while there's a lot of eyes that are out there, but as long as you're doing it, somebody is going to be watching it. You have to work with people that have that influence. I've seen a lot of different ways that people do it from a celebrity or influencer standpoint to get them involved in gaming. Because you got to remember, those celebrities and those influencers, they love games too. If you can get them involved, if you could get companies involved to just draw more attention to your product or more attention to your players, that's always going to be a big win. But it's tough. There's going to be a lot of trial and error as you go into this. And it's something that you just have to have a lot of passion for. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
That's true. Thank you very much. Our second question is, so Tekken 8 and Street Fighter 6 will be released soon.
Yeah.
Will there be any custom-built sticks or hardware for them that you'll be releasing?
That I'll be releasing. So I still work and work contractually with a lot of companies that make hardware. Nothing that I could talk about yet. A lot of stuff is switching over to obviously the new consoles. I believe for Street Fighter 6 it's still going to be on existing consoles, but for Tekken they announced that they're going to be next gen only. So I think it's still too early to announce any of that stuff because we don't even have release dates for those two games. So I would be very confident to say that there will be new products available there. Whether or not I'm involved with it, I can't say yet.
Right, great. Oh, just one last question.
Yeah.
So, are you planning on releasing any Filipino brand hardware here? And if so, when can we have a talk about our partnership?
I would love to talk about that at any time. You could talk to me about it after this media summit. But I think that's a question more for Sony on how they plan on releasing official licensed products in the region. I know Sony does have a presence here, not as big as it is in other regions, but it's something that I think they need to pay attention to just because of the gaming potential here in this region. So because EVO is partially owned by Sony now, it's maybe I could talk to the hardware guys there to see if there's something that we can do at least to give more focus towards the Philippines, because I think this region definitely deserves it. But yeah, I wish I had a better answer for you there.
No, it's okay. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Yeah, so we open the floor to anyone else who also has a question. Anyone first?
Yeah, if you guys feel more comfortable asking the question in Tagalog, you guys can do that as well. I can understand. I just can't speak it that well. I can understand it.
Actually,
No, you go ahead.
okay, I'll
You
start.
first. You start.
What do you feel about the top 8 brackets and like what everything that transpired yesterday?
I think the top 8 brackets for Tekken 7 is going to be very exciting. A lot of the matches, unfortunately, weren't on the stream. I was watching in the crowd with everybody else. But I'm very happy that there's a Filipino representative in the top 8, and I'm going to be cheering for AK later on today because there are no Americans in the top 8, so I can't cheer for them. But Korea, obviously, very strong. They have 4 players in the top 8, and then Pakistan, the 3 players that they sent over, 2 of them are in the top 8, albeit in the loser side. So I think it's going to be a nice international class later this evening, and I'm very excited to cast it later on tonight.
All right. Hi, Mark.
Yeah. Hi.
I'm Timster.
Hi, Tim.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as
And
well.
I've been following you, and well, of course, Evo, and I've been seeing your work. It's great.
Thank you.
I actually wanted to ask, what drove your passion to this? I mean, where you are right now. I mean, would you remember the very first fighting game, or
Yeah.
that experience that got you to? It just clicked. This is it. This is what they wanted to do.
It was never planned. This is just something that I love. So fighting games is just such a young industry. So I never really thought about it as that because I just loved fighting games. I first started with Street Fighter 2 back in the arcade days.
Yes.
So I'm a little bit older compared to a lot of the kids that are playing and enjoying the scene now.
Likewise.
But because of that, I just followed the scene and I just wanted to be active and part of it. And I just got lucky that I was able to utilize my skills and learn a lot of skills from the people within the community to be able to build a career out of this, working in the hardware industry, working in business development, to be able to create moments and work directly with these companies. It's I wish I could say that I had this plan, but I didn't. But this is just something I think that comes with the territory, and I feel very honored and very grateful to be able to have these opportunities and the trust from all the companies and partners that I work with. That being said, it's proof that there is a path for anybody that is just passionate about these games, that they can really find a way to not only highlight their local communities, but also go from a national, even a global level.
Yeah, I can relate because I also played Street Fighter 2. Then my passion just grew because I went to the arcades, and then you meet friends along the way.
Yeah.
You play against them, you talk about it, and this is before the internet. I mean, you just have to go to the arcade and you meet somebody you know, and you meet there every Saturday, you meet there every Sunday, you play. I mean, here, that leads to my next question. Here, I mean, it's a growing community with the Philippines of REV Major 2022. I'm glad this is my first REV Major actually. I wasn't able to attend the last one in 2019 since I was out of the country. I mean, would you say getting to know the people here, would you like to invite them going to EVO or the other tournaments? You bring them there, that may probably spread the word. Come here to REV Major, and then possibly a lot more events.
Yeah, well, so from the global nature of events, I think there are many events that are worth going out to. I think EVO is, because it's the biggest, it's probably the one that I would recommend a lot of people go to if they have the ability to go there. But even this event is one of the best global events that I've been to, and you can see that just from the variety in all the different countries that are coming here. And I feel like it's an experience that people need to be able to do, is go out there, support these communities, support these events, so that way they can grow. You know, even though Evo is the biggest, I want to see other events grow to be at that scale, at that level. We could only benefit from having more events that highlight these players, that highlight these games, and that give people opportunities to really love these games. And again, bring in more people. And I think that's going to be a big win for everybody if we can get to that level. I would love to see more people go out to events abroad, but I know it's not that easy. It's very difficult to be able to travel.
Especially now.
Yeah, especially now. But again, with the world opening up a little bit more, I have confidence, and, you know, I think there are ways that we can do it. It's all about communication and how we're able to leverage the community, media, but also just information in general.
That's it. Thank you.
Thanks for your questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No one else?
Anybody else?
Anybody else?
That was easy.
Would you want to? Oh, sorry. Would you want to try playing a Filipino fighting game later?
Which one?
Bayani.
I've followed that, and I've seen people posting about that for the
Right
past
there.
few years.
If you want to play us for money,
Yeah.
you can do it.
Play for money? Wow. Is that legal?
No, just try it out.
Yeah, I've only watched it. I've never played it myself.
We can take it there. If you
Yeah, I
want.
would love to see it.
I have an informal question.
Yes.
Okay. Because I watched that moment when Harada showed the Tekken teaser in Evo, and then you guys were jumping up and down, and you were hugging, or he was hugging you.
Yeah.
Was he trying to lift you?
I hope not. Tasty Steve, one of my co-commentators I usually do commentary with, he's been to REV Major before. He's very strong. He lifted me. Harada-san, I don't think he should try.
I just saw it and I was saying, well, and I also met Tasty Steve when he went here from Manila Cup. I said, wow, it looked like so much fun.
Yeah, it was definitely fun. It was a fun moment. You know, obviously Harada-san and Michael Murray knew about it. Some of the other people in the production side knew about it, but it was genuine emotions from everybody there seeing the reveal for the first time.
Now we just saw that Jin versus Kazuya trailers.
Yeah, at the State of Play, they just announced Tekken 8, so I know this country is in particular is very excited for it, I'm sure.
I have a follow-up question. Is Akuma going to be in Tekken 8?
Yeah.
It's still too early to talk about which characters are doing. And that's a very political answer, and I wish
Thank you.
I could say more, but there might be some information from Harada-san and Michael Murray. Who knows? It's better to ask them. I don't want to get in trouble.
Hello, I am
Hi.
Rico from the Associate Project.
Hi.
We are focused on actually the niche games, so like music rhythm games. And
Okay.
we're also developing esports like Evo for that in the local scene.
Nice.
But my question is like, what is your message to the Filipino fighting game communities in this state, especially after fighting game events are back right now with REV Major 2022?
So my message would be, of course, to just keep playing. Obviously, there are new games that are going to be coming out, but it's very important to always play the games that you love. That's most important. And I see that at REV Major. You guys are playing a lot of older games still. You guys are highlighting a lot of older, more niche communities. And that's always a great thing, because establishing that rapport and being able to keep people active in the games that they currently love and play, that's a platform for when new games come out that they might be interested in joining and being part of other communities as well. And I think it's always important just to let people do what they want and be able to embrace the games that they love. Yeah. And that's very different depending on, you know, which country you're from or even which region you are from in the Philippines. So again, just keep highlighting what you guys are doing and just keep having fun.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I appreciate what you do on Evo and also for Bandit Namco.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think if there's nothing else, I think we're good. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for your time.